with it, and they will help. So now tonight we do hope you're going to enjoy this very special archival programme, which in fact is going to take us back now to 2004. Chiad fáilte cháirde chuig Clara 3 the LTV adó ó Hrádavilling. You're very welcome, dear viewers, this evening, and very especially viewers from Macroom, who are receiving our signal so very clearly. This is programme 3 of our community-based and non-commercial television channel here from the Mill Street studio. And this time, we're not in the studio, we're outdoors. In fact, we're on location at Mill Street Community School on the 4th of the 4th of the 4th. This, in fact, is the 4th of April 2004. And we're here for a very special event at the community school here in Mill Street, because it's the 25th anniversary of Comhaltas Ceoltóirí Éireann Hrádavilling. And this is the annual Féile Ceol here in Mill Street. And throughout this programme, we're going to place our focus totally on the Féile Ceol. And we're absolutely thrilled to be joined by the people who make it all happen. This wonderfully dedicated committee from the Mill Street branch of Comhaltas Ceoltóirí Éireann. And we will have, of course, a word with our different members right through the programme itself. You'll remember in last week's programme, of course, we promised that we'd have Eilidh returning with her usual weekly news link. And, of course, this will follow very shortly, because I think, in fact, we now can go over to Eilidh's studio up this week in Geraroo, and Eilidh will give us the news from this week. So over to you, Eilidh.
Thank you, Sean. Dis Maria Galera Carda, and welcome to LTV2 Weekly News Report. Here are the results of this week's Parish Lotto draw, which was held at the Malpaso Bar on Sunday night. Numbers drawn were 11, 17, 21 and 22, and the jackpot was not won. €100 went to Matt O'Connor, Station Road. The seller was Johnny O'Keefe, and he got €50 seller's prize. €50 went to Maeve Neen in Ballydaly, 20 each to Joan Wall, Station Road. Martin O'Neill, care of Glasgow Celtic. John Cronin, Priest Cross. Nora Crimmon, Clownbennon. John O'Shea, Killowen. Siobhan Lombard, Bantier. Mick Hickey, Clara Clay, and Chris Hickey, Mount Leader. Jack Pitchenput. The club held a very successful AGM and prize-giving ceremony at the GA Hall on Saturday night. At the election of officers, Johnny O'Keefe was elected chairman for the 30th year. So well done, Johnny. Gymnastics. A million congratulations to 9-year-old Saoirse McMahon on winning gold at the All-Ireland tumbling competition, which was held in Clonlochan on March the 27th. She won it in the under-10 section. And now over again to you, Sean.
And so we're back here again at the community school here in Mill Street. I'm by 3 young girls here, and we have Megan O'Leary from Corriginima, we have Vera O'Callaghan from Clondrohid, and we have Lisa O'Shea from Corriginima. And they have the tin whistles, and they're going to play for us a beautiful polka.
What a second.
Now we're absolutely thrilled to be joined at this point by three very famous young girls from Mill Street. In fact, they are triplets, and they are the triplets, the Murphy triplets from Clara here in Mill Street. We have Lydia, Kristen and Caitlin, and they're going to recite for us a very beautiful poem called Love, Love Ella. All right, girls, there you go.
Love, love Ella, a hen, a doe. Cos Ella, a hen, a doe. Sewell Ella, a hen, a doe. Lewis Ella, a hen, a doe. Ciawn, Tywyn, Beal, Spring, Picla, Barna and Beal a stick.
That's great. Caramel Mog is absolutely beautiful. And now for some great traditional instrumental music from five wonderfully talented young people here in Mill Street at the Féile Cheoil here in Mill Street. We have, of course, Miriam O'Sullivan. We then have Donal Linehan. We have Deirdre Mead. We have Jamie Linehan. And we also have Conor Linehan. And they're going to provide us with some really, really traditional and wonderful music here at the Féile Cheoil. We're joined by a young man here who has an absolutely, truly wonderful voice. This, in fact, is Andreas Girn from Rathawan here in Mill Street. And Andreas has such a beautiful voice, especially when he sings a song called James Connolly, that from Andreas Girn from Rathawan here in Mill Street.
A great crowd had gathered outside of Kilmainham, with their heads all uncovered. They knelt on the ground, for inside that grim prison lay a brave Irish soldier, his life for his country about to lay down. He went to his death like a true son of Ireland, the firing party he bravely did face. Then the order rang out, present arms and fire. James Conley fell into a ready-made grave. The black flag they hoisted, the cruel deed was over. Gone was the man who loved Ireland so well. There was many a sad heart in Dublin that morning when they murdered James Conley, the Irish rebel. Many years have gone by since that Irish rebellion, when the guns of Britannia they loudly did speak, and the bold IRA stood shoulder to shoulder and the blood from their bodies flowed down Sackville Street. The four courts in Dublin, the English bombarded, the spirit of freedom they tried hard to quell. But above all the din came the cry, no surrender. 'Twas the voice of James Connolly, the Irish rebel. 'Twas the voice of James Connolly, the Irish rebel.
And now I believe you, another very good friend here, a very talented person again, is with us. Your good friend.
Brian Keller.
Yes, Brian Kelleher. Brian, you're from, in fact, Lisnabui, near Cullen in the parish of Mill Street.
Yeah.
Great. And Brian, you attend your school, you attend...
Skull Phobos in Rathmore.
In Rathmore,
Yeah.
right. And you've a great interest in music for many years.
Yeah.
Tremendous, altogether. Now you're going to give us is your favourite musical instrument the
Oh yeah,
box?
the accordion, alright, yeah.
The accordion itself. Now, what are you going to give us, Brian?
I'll play the Fox Hunter's Reel.
The Fox Hunter's Reel by Brian Kelleher from Lisnabui in Cullen. Absolutely remarkable. Wonderful for a meal log at me hall. And any reason why you picked this very special instrument?
It's lighter.
It's lighter. That's a great. And you play it so well. Goramil Mahagat Mihal, and you're keeping the tradition of the Irish tradition alive in such a wonderful manner. I think you'll agree, Sean.
Yeah, concertina.
Concertina. You'd often see those in Kilcorny Fish.
Yeah, long ago. Although they were long ago, but they came back again.
Yes,
They
yes.
were, they went out for for a long time, but they're coming back again. Kind of.
What, in fact, Sean, has been the most common instrument that you'd see being played at the Feshina in recent years?
Fishing, well, the violin is kind of violin playing is coming back again.
Yes.
At one stage, no, it was very hard to get violin players, but there's a lot of them seem to be around now at the moment. I played fiddle myself, of course.
Absolutely, and wonderfully so. You still play, Sean, in great style.
Well, I don't at the moment.
Oh, well, you've played many a wonderful tune, absolutely.
I did.
And Kilcorny Fish, of course, has been going so many years.
1910 was the first one, sure.
And it was your dad?
My dad, yes, that founded the fishing.
My goodness.
1910, and it was in the premises of Kilcorny Creamery. They held the first fish.
Right.
In 1910.
And when the feis was outdoors, wasn't there a very
Yeah.
special atmosphere?
Oh, there was, of course, yeah. But of course, you see, with the weather, you know, and
Yes. There were as many a year you had to cancel it and defer
cancel
it.
it, yeah.
That's right.
I remember a year in one particular year in Kilcorny, it was raining like mad in the morning. It was Father Abernethy, Lord, that's the miss him, that died.
Indeed.
And during the mass, and he said a prayer that to be fine
Yes.
for the
The
Kilcorny
itself,
fish.
yes.
So he came down afterwards anyway, and you know, it was teeming rain in the morning, teeming. Next thing it got fine all of a sudden, and the rest of the day was really fine day.
It was like a Kilcorny miracle.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Absolutely.
right. That happened now, yeah.
And Sean, we have some wonderful footage of yourself dancing outside the wonderful home there of the late Ned Reardon, which later was bought by
Sean
O'Sheacon.
Yes,
and
that's right.
there you were dancing outside the thatched cottage.
That's
Do you remember
right.
the day?
I do indeed, very well indeed.
Can you tell us what you remember from it, Sean?
Well, these people came along anyway, and they wanted to know would I dance step. They were, what's their names? They were,
Yeah,
they came from, their mother came from Bantier anyway.
right.
What's their names?
Yeah.
I don't know again.
But anyway, they came to.
But they came.
Yes.
And so I was asked, you know, would I go up and dance a step? So one of those girls was competed for the world champ. She was a very good step dancer.
My goodness.
One of the girls. So that girl danced, and her brother and myself.
Yes.
They did a three-hand reel, and I did a hornpipe with them
It was wonderful.
in the flagstone outside the cottage.
We're blessed to know that we have footage of that, and we're
Yes,
going to
yeah.
see that now.
Well, I was.
In fact, one of the other situations there was that on that particular day itself, if you remember, the people that joined on that particular day itself.
Yeah, Casey's. There were Casey's now.
Oh, right.
They were from Tournafulla.
Right.
Just came to
Cases
me.
from Tournafulla.
Fulla, and
But
they're now living in Kanturk
Yeah. But Sean, you've been dancing since the age of when?
since the age of 6 or 8, I
My
suppose.
goodness. So you've
But,
danced a fair few
I tell
steps.
you, one time, I suppose I was about 9 years, I broke my leg one time. Fell off a tree.
Right.
I crabbed tree, and I was in Mill Street Hospital. I was for 6 weeks in Mill Street Hospital, the flat of my back now.
Yes.
Those days there was no injections or no nothing,
Right.
only just, you
It
know.
was just rest.
Yeah,
Rest.
and bone,
Yes.
put lats in my
Right.
feet.
Right.
But that particular, that was now during, I was in there during Christmas period.
Yes.
All through the Christmas period I was there, like.
Right.
So on the following May of the fish I competed the following year.
Yes.
For step dancing the following year.
The leg had healed by then.
Had healed, yes.
My goodness, that's
Yes,
brilliant.
that's right.
But it's great. It's great to see the tradition, Sean.
that
Not
is it.
only in Kilcorny, but of course, Colin also has had a wonderful fish over
Yeah,
the years.
Cullen.
And even Mill
I
Street
should,
had a
there
fish.
were more. There were more. There was the fishes in Ballydaly as well, and other places. Kanturk, of course.
Yes, yes, and Mill Street.
There was a big fish in Kanturk, where one year, it could be in 1945, where De Valera came there, I'd say.
My goodness.
I competed there the same day,
Oh,
in
wow.
1945.
That's a very special memory.
Yeah,
But
it
Sean,
was the
you-
Duhallow fish. It
Yes.
was actually the
You
Duhallow
must be
fish.
uplifted when you come to the Féileachol
Yes.
Hrodahvilling here this year
Yes.
to see that so many young people like Micheál
Yes,
here
yes.
are participating in such a
Oh, yes.
talented way.
Oh, God,
it must
yes.
be uplifting for you to see this.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
And there's great hope for the future.
I mean, I used to play at the fish as well, to play the fiddle, like for the step dancing.
Tremendous, I remember
In the
as
early
well.
days, I'd be sitting down
Remember as
playing
well.
all day long.
And we had Dennis O'Keefe on the stage playing the box. Dennis O'Keefe of
That's
the Mill Street
right,
Rovers.
Dennis O'Keefe,
Yes, all great people
Yeah.
over the years playing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
But
that's
Sean,
right.
Such great memories.
Huh?
Such great replica of the silver spoon. This week we said we're going to have something really special associated with a very famous Lord Mayor of Cork. In fact, we talk about a very famous Lord Mayor called Terence MacSweeney. And this, in fact, was a basket that Terence MacSweeney owned at one particular point. It was full of flowers and sent down to Drishan Convent, because there in Drishan Convent, Terence McSweeney had in fact relations who were members of the order of the Les Dames de Saint-Maur, or the Drishan Sisters. And in fact, maybe we might have a special comment there from Jack Roach. Jack, you're handling now a very historic item there. You might like to comment.
Well, it's great to have something, a memento of Terence McSweeney, and it's great that I wasn't aware of the contact with Mill Street, and it's I suppose it's highlights the importance of the local museum and the work they have done in collecting priceless items, really, and obviously an item like this would be a priceless item. So compliments to everybody who's associated with the library, with the museum, who have got such very fine artefacts.
But thanks very much indeed, Jack, for such lovely comments. And of course, Jack Roach is so much associated with that wonderful centre called Brooke na Cardiga over at Rock Chapel, and lots more about Brooke na Cardiga in future programmes. But for our studio here, well, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by a whole host of very special guests here, and we will introduce to you the different individual people as we go along. But the focus of our discussion tonight is to just look at LTV2, first of all, to see how it began, what has happened since we went on air 7 weeks ago, and where it's going to go in the future. So, how did it really begin? And in fact, if we think back 20 years ago, Mill Street attempted bringing LTV, local television, to Mill Street, and there was great enthusiasm, and there was lots of wonderful programmes went out on air, but there were many difficulties also that and also the actual equipment used at the time perhaps was limited in that it has so much improved in recent times. So for 20 years then, Macroom and its hinterland way beyond Macroom, they have been receiving this wonderful LTV service, and but we always felt very much wanting to get the service in Mill Street, and the person who has really brought it to life again and who has resurrected the idea is sitting beside me here, Mr. Sean Murphy. Sean, maybe you'll give me an idea of actually how did this wonderful idea of LTV2 begin again after 20 years?
Well, I started at home trying to receive the Macroom signal, and with the help of Danger I got it under great difficulty, but I had a picture. And then during the summer, I met Danger, and he was on to me about organising a programme of locals in Carriganima, and I suppose it went from there, really. Do you know?
Absolutely. I think, isn't there some thrill when you can get a programme or a channel like that you never expect to get?
That's right, and to see the locals on it, or even yourself.
Oh,
you know?
and yourself and many others indeed.
Yeah.
But Sean, we've been on air now for 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
What has been the reaction?
It is all good anyway. Anywhere you walk up and down the town, you could get people coming out. How do I get it?
Yeah.
I've gone
Yes.
into more houses in Mill Street,
Yes.
tuning televisions,
Yes.
and, you know.
Yes.
But there's a lot of interest.
Yeah, in fact I would agree there that the actual reception is much better at the moment in the Macroom area, but in time the Slieve Lucra and the Duhallow area will certainly have a much more improved signal in time. But it's a wonderful enriching of our two cultures. We're getting a much deeper understanding of Macroom, and hopefully Macroom in time will see a number of the different items that we have to share. But we have been very impressed, and we're very lucky, Sean, to be
Yes.
receiving the Macroom signal also.
Along with our own, yeah. It is nice to have the two together. You know, we might take them on in a few quizzes now in the winter.
But it's. I think we're both enriching each other.
Yeah.
Now, there are many other good people that we have here in our studio. And next to me here is Humphrey. And Humphrey O'Riordan is from Rathcoole. And Humphrey, at the moment, I know the signal mightn't be great in Rathcoole, but in time will be really good. What do you think LTV could do for an area like Rathcoole?
Well, LTV, like the local radio stations, you know what's happening locally. Like, depending on something national, you can't get any local information out on the air. So even to advertise, we'll say charity events happening and things like that, is handy to have a local television and do local radio working.
And I think the local amount of talent. Your own daughter, Anne-Marie, sure, I mean, the wonderful voice that Anne-Marie has, but as you say, there's such a wealth of talent in the local areas.
Oh yeah, because like, even if you go back a couple of years ago, there was a Kyoto's concert held in the GA Hall, and like the talent that was from Mill Street and the surrounding areas that were on that night, they were fantastic.
Yes, indeed.
And like we have the greatest bunch of young people, I'd say, growing up now that we ever had. And it's nice to make use of the talents we have.
Tremendous. And I know that Anne-Marie is going to be taking part, as well as Jerry Duty and many others, in the concert in the Briery Gap in Macroom to promote LTV.
Yeah, it is Michael Healy is organising it, so he was on to us there recently, so Anne-Marie will be singing there on the 13th, 14th and 15th. So Jerry Duty, and there's a lot of talent from around Macroom will be there as well.
Yes, indeed.
So it's nice to support the local things in here.
Tremendous. And we're going to have a very special song now, in fact, from your good daughter. And in fact, Anne-Marie is sitting over here. And Anne-Marie, perhaps you'll tell us, what are you firstly going to sing?
I'm going to sing a song called Mystery Town.
Mystery Town. And this song itself, has it been composed by someone locally? It's possible that it has over the years. Yes.
I got the words from Donny Kelleher. He gave me the words, so...
Excellent, excellent. So now, Anne-Marie, while we'll continue our discussion here, you might get ready and we'll have your wonderful song in a minute. All right? So we'll move along then, and the next person we're going to meet with here is Mr. Dennis Lane. And Dennis, Dennis, you're living in that beautiful area of Mill Street called Drishan Road. And you have been very much involved over the years with not only Kilcorny Creamery and Kilcorny itself, but also with the Garden Fates in Drishan. Perhaps you might share more about this, please, Dennis.
Well, I suppose looking at Ireland Zone for this month of May, there's an article on it about the creamery, the end of an era, which the creamery closed last year. And I suppose, having said that, started there 42 years ago, like, I only retired from there a few years ago. And I suppose another sad thing is that the manager that was there at that time, Jim Hegarty,
right.
He was buried last week.
Yes.
At the age of 99.
My goodness.
So, you know, I suppose it's sad to see him gone and to see the creamery gone as well, like, you know, so.
And I must say, the loyal people that were all at the funeral there was,
right.
it was like, so much was recalled on that evening when all the Kilcorny people, particularly those associated with the creamery, turned up at Jim Hegarty's funeral.
That's right, yeah. And indeed, it was, and I suppose, as you were there yourself, I suppose it was an unusual funeral. Well, I let that to you to say what happened that the day.
Yes.
You know?
Well, in fact, Jim would have been Jim would have died in Dublin, but in fact, he would always have wanted that he would actually have been laid to rest in Mill Street and with his late wife. And this is actually what happened here in Mill Street at Drishan Cemetery, or in fact at St. Mary's Cemetery here.
Yeah.
Exactly. But then you have great memories of the Garden Fates at Drishan.
That's right, I was chairman for a number of years there, you know. And,
Yeah. What was involved in its preparation?
Well, there was a lot of preparation. They were always in May. The Garden Fates were always held in May, but you'd be starting around February. Like, you know, there was about something around 200 people that would run the Garden Fete and organise them and getting everything ready, and, you know, different bits and pieces, and getting someone to open it, and the pipe band and all the different things, you know.
Tremendous. But I think it's at this point that we should hear that wonderful song, Mill Street Town, by Anne-Marie O'Riordan. So now down to the other end of our studio for Anne-Marie.
Clap there and come around here.
Beneath the hills of Marshra and lofty Claramore, 5 years I've spent in quiet content in nature's lovely store. Sure, I recall those evenings snug within that sweet vale is lovely Mill Street town. I love the lads and lassies too who used to walk with me. They sang the songs of Ireland dear and the songs of liberty. And at the fair shore Cayley too, no schemer could be found, for he had no room to spread his wings in lovely Mill Street town. You may talk about Cork City Fair or the town of Sweet Fermoy, or the beauties of Killarney amid its mountain high, or the rolling waves of Bantry Bay with scenes of sweet renown. But fairer still than any of these is lovely Mill Street town.
Some of the other people very much involved in bringing you the actual transmission itself. We come upon now a man from the Corriganima area, John Joe Moriarty. And John Joe, perhaps you can tell us what's involved in bringing the signal to people, John Joe.
There's quite a lot involved, Sean, in getting signals across. People don't realise it at all. Then Joe would be able to explain that a little bit better than I would, I'd say. First of all, we have to start off with the camera work. It starts with the cameras and the sound and all that. Then we have to get the tapes edited. That's a bigger job again. That takes hours again to edit the tapes. Then we have to link that into the transmitters and then get it out on air back to the houses. It's quite a big job, but Danjo has the biggest job of all there in the editing.
It's an amazing feat that Danjo has actually achieved over the past 20 years, isn't it?
Well, that man has archives of material I think that anybody would love to, get at. I'm sure we will be seeing more of it from time to time. Then, Joe, you remember the castle, the ones we did over the castle a good many years ago. I said it must be at the very start of it, and we will be showing those at a later stage.
But even already, John Joe, we find that the archival material that's already been shared, the interest that we're seeing regarding that material is enormous altogether. Because I think what we see Danjo having preserved must be unique in Ireland. I cannot imagine that there be any other parish or any other area that would have preserved so much in such a professional manner. I think you'd agree, John Joe.
Oh, certainly. I have done videotapes with Danjo a good number of years ago, and I know the type of material that he has, it's historical.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that he has done, the people that were in it are long gone,
Yes.
and that's the thing about people love to see those old films.
Yes. Yes, it gives a huge appreciation for our past and our heritage, and I think that's so important that this is preserved. But and I think it's time that we could have a second song from our wonderful guest, Anne-Marie O'Riordan.
He bought me a handkerchief, red, white and blue. I love him, I'll forgive him, I'll go with him wherever he goes. When I was single I wore a plaid shawl. Now that I'm married I've nothing at all. But still I love him, I'll forgive him, I'll go with him wherever he goes. Still I love him, I'll forgive him, I'll go with him wherever he goes.
I think an applause. And Anne-Marie has rejoined us here back at our late studio here in LTV2. And this time now I'm going to speak with Margaret Kelleher. And Margaret is in fact originally from Mill Street, from Ballinatona.
Right, Sean.
And Margaret, in fact, Jerry, your brother, Jerry O'Riordan, was speaking earlier. But Margaret, you live in Corriginama and you have been receiving LTV for quite a few years.
That's right, Sean.
Great.
We have been receiving it from, I suppose, when it started.
My
But the
goodness.
picture wasn't good. But now it's very good.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
And what has LTV meant to the Corriginama community, Margaret?
Oh, a lot, a lot. I suppose the fact of Denjo recording all down through the years, we have a lot of local history recorded, or he has a lot of local history recorded. We are very grateful to Denjo.
Yeah. And the great thing about this is that it's all being kept. And perhaps every now and then, doesn't Andrew draw on the archives and show some footage that he'd have taken maybe 20 years ago?
That's right. He surprises us. We never know what he's going to come up with. And I suppose the fact if he coming into Mill Street is an extra bonus to me. You know, seeing.
Yeah. So in fact,
I have it from both sides.
So in fact, you're looking at both LTV and LTV2.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And in fact, it's the 30th of December 1999, and we're here in this most historic day here in Clahoola National School. It's 130 years old this year, and we're deeply honoured to be joined by many very famous past pupils. One such pupil is Mr. Dan Murphy, originally from Caherdowney, but now living in Birmingham. And we are deeply honoured to be joined by yourself, Dan. Welcome indeed.
Thank you very much.
Dan, maybe you'll recall your memories of Clahoola National School in your day.
Yes, I certainly do.
Right, you were here what years?
I started in 1937 and I ended in 1945. I enjoyed my stay there. There was the principal was Mr. John DeHarty, lovely person, and he gave some very, very, very good, pleasant education to everybody. From there, when I left, I went to Inniskeen, near Bandon, and served my time as a carpenter. Then moved to Birmingham, England, and I'm there since. Yeah.
What does it mean to you to be back here on this very special day in your original, well, perhaps this isn't the original school, but very near the original school?
Well, it gives me the greatest pleasure to come back here. It's absolutely marvellous. A few minutes ago, I visited the old school and had a good look round. Unfortunately, it's going into a very bad state of repair, and it brings back many, many old memories. But a lovely place, and I'm very privileged to be here today. I'm delighted.
You were in school during the Second World War, in fact. What memories would you have of that?
Yes, amazingly, I was there during the Second World War, but unfortunately I can't, or fortunately perhaps, I can't remember very much about the war. I must say that Ireland must have been very, very neutral at that time. There was very, very little spoken about the war. The only thing I can remember is the scarcity of bread and tea. That's about the only thing I can remember about the war and the meals.
When you were coming to school, did you walk to school?
Yes, I walked 3.5 miles to school from Caherdowney, and I'm sure I've missed very few days. We were always there, and I love school, as a matter of fact.
Any very special day you remember? Sometimes a person would have a very special memory of a particular day.
Yes, there's one very, very special day that I can remember. There was an Irish teacher who was came from Kerry, County Kerry, Dingle, County Kerry. Eamon O'Connor was his name. And I took a keen interest in Irish. As a matter of fact, a very keen interest in Irish, in as much that I eventually got a goal fáinne for Irish, yes, which was very good. But anyhow, I had left school and I had gone to Inniskeen, and I got a letter from this Eamon O'Connor to come back to Clahoola to sit an exam with the other pupils of the school, which I'd done in Mill Street Convent it was. And that is a day I will never forget as long as I live. Anyhow, we done very well on this exam, even though we had finished with the school for 6 months actually, and it was such a change to come back to school again after spending 6 months away from it, and go back with the class. Some of the classmates were still there, but I enjoyed that. That's in the back of my mind, never go away.
So the pupils that were in school with you, have you kept up contact over the years?
Unfortunately, no, because when I finished serving my time as a carpenter, I went to England, and in fact I lost contact. But yes, I've met a couple here today, 3 or 4 so far. There's Neely Collins was the first man I see when I came through the door. Very good friend of mine at school, classmate, and he hasn't changed. He looks the same, yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah, it was lovely.
And you would really feel that the education here in Clahoola has stood so well to you in different parts of the world?
Well, it's undone.
Well, Dan, it's been a great pleasure speaking with you, and it's wonderful that you've been able to make it here today on this very special occasion, and it's been a privilege speaking with you, and we now will go and meet some more past pupils. Thanks very much indeed, Dan Murphy.
Thank you very much, and it's my privilege to be here to speak to you. Thank you very much.
And now to that promised and much anticipated brush dance, which was recorded by Danjo Kelleher at the Morris O'Keefe weekend over Easter at that superbly traditional venue, which is located in Boherbue and is known as the Rambling House. So now over to the Rambling House in Boherbue for that wonderful brush dance.
water. Right, who's next to follow that?
As we conclude, I'm going to leave it to yourself to give us some words of advice.
I will indeed, Sean. And just before I do, with regard to last week's programme, some people were looking for the words of the song that I had sung in Shrone that week, and they're quite welcome to contact me, and I will gladly give them to them. So my final few words tonight are words of wisdom. The veil that shields us from the future was woven by an angel of mercy, which means that we don't know what's happening tomorrow.
My goodness, that's so true.